Hey everyone, welcome to the second Marketing Weekly Show, where I'll be covering the newest SEO changes on the top and on also the top social media platforms and the newest Shopify changes. I hope you had a great new year with lots of rest because there are a lot of changes that recently happened. So let's dive right in. And then also, one second. And okay, there we go. So starting out with Facebook, we gotta talk about this iOS update. Like, I know it's something that we don't want to talk about, but that it just we gotta do it. So let's bring it right up here, right here. So let's right here and talking about the newest iOS update. It's tough, guys. It really is tough. Like, this is gonna change marketing for a very long time, and it's gonna make it where I hope you have and you like your reports right now because in the next 3 months, it's going to completely change everything. Because in March 2021 is when it rolls out for everything. And it's basically, let me zoom in right here, where basically Facebook is asking, will start asking for us marketers to track. And this is going to make it very tough for us guys, like very tough. So it's something that I got to cover. It's painful to watch. Facebook ads are going to dramatically be affected because it's going to make it where we can't optimize our campaigns effectively because we optimize based on that tracking. We optimize based on that thank you page, based on that thank you for purchasing page. But now that's going away, is what it looks like here. So there's a lot of ways around that. I'll be covering that more in our Friday show, basically in more depth and the way to get around it because I'm using Amazon. I'm basically using Amazon without I'm optimizing Amazon purchases without a pixel right now, which is kind of what might be the future of marketing and the future of tracking. So I'm looking forward to going through that with you guys, and I'll be covering that on Friday. Next, we get some text suggestions on. We're starting to get text suggestions on our Facebook ads now, and it's really exciting stuff that we can finally get some things like that. And I think the future of the text suggestions, I think AI is going to get in there where it's going to start optimizing it for that, optimizing that copy. And the Facebook platform is only going to get better and it's going to start optimizing our campaigns better and using that copy and that optimized copy. So I'm excited for those text suggestions. Um, Businesses are starting to show their products through Facebook Messenger ads now. And it's really cool in really creative ways how these businesses are doing this. So I want to show you how one business is doing it right here. And essentially, like this is a carousel ad that goes into a messenger, a messenger flow where people can then find more information about the business, and it works really well. And I was really impressed on how these guys did it because it did a fantastic job of informing me, the customer, very easily of what the product was and what it was about. So this goes into a messenger flow, and I think they did a good job. So um, there's lots of potential that messengers has, and it has that 90% open rate, like I said before. So it's really important to utilize that kind of functionality. Also, Facebook will be taking away the Facebook liking feature on the Facebook page like feature. They'll be taking that away soon. So apparently they've already rolled it out, but I'm still seeing Facebook pages that still have that like feature. So they're going to be taking that away, and it's going to become follows apparently. So I saw that on a recent a Facebook post. And then moving on to Instagram. The newest changes with Instagram, engagement rates on Instagram are actually higher on carousel ads rather than a video or an image. So a carousel is just it's an image, but you basically where the user can scroll through, kind of like with the ad I just showed you right here. This is what a carousel looks like right here. That is what a carousel is. And apparently, these are the most engaging ways you can engage with your customers on Instagram. So carousels are actually being more engaging than a typical image or video. So make sure you integrate that type of thing into your Instagram strategy. Also, LinkedIn articles. I've noticed that they are starting to rank on Google. So basically, people are making articles on LinkedIn. And as people know, if you make an article on LinkedIn, you'll maybe get 3 or 5 views. Like that's practically it. On LinkedIn itself, LinkedIn doesn't push articles at all. But on Google, that is where all the traffic gets directed to. So if you do use Google Planner, a keyword research tool, that's all it is, and you create these blog posts, like instead of posting a blog to your website, then instead of doing that, you post it to LinkedIn, because LinkedIn has the domain authority. LinkedIn has a hundred domain score, which is huge. Almost no website has. Only the biggest websites in the world have a 100 domain score. And if you post your blogs on LinkedIn, and then it can start ranking on Google, and people can find your blog easily through the Google search. So it's another way to get lots of reach through the Google platform if you don't have a great website, if you don't have that high domain score on your website. And you can also direct traffic at the bottom of any LinkedIn post to your website to find out more. So it's a great way to gain traffic and gain awareness for you and your brand. So those LinkedIn articles are a great way to do that. And also, LinkedIn groups have been pushed a lot more when it comes to notifications. So if you are an admin of a LinkedIn group right now, you have a lot of leverage, because if someone joins that group and you recommend a post somewhere, if it'll notify everybody in that group on LinkedIn, and it will make sure that people see that post. It'll notify everyone to basically go see that post. So if you are a LinkedIn admin, you have a lot of leverage to choose any type of post you want to. If you're in a big group as well, you can really gain a lot of engagement that way by recommending posts on LinkedIn. So I highly recommend you do that if you are a LinkedIn admin. And as I said before, on my LinkedIn post, I made a LinkedIn post about this. Only 1% of users post, guys. 1%. And only 10% actually engage with posts. So that's liking, commenting. The rest is just 90 or 89% of the rest of people on LinkedIn just consume content and don't interact with anything. And that's fascinating, because I thought I was the only one for a while that just I didn't like anything for the longest time, guys. Like I literally liked nothing, didn't comment on anything. And I think that was because like I didn't want other people seeing what I was liking. I didn't want to like I don't know what the reason was internally, but I finally got to that 10% where I started liking and commenting, and then I started posting. So I know a lot of you guys do want to post. Like a lot of New Year's resolutions. I want to post consistently on LinkedIn. Tell me how. You guys send me messages like that, and the way I do it and the way I tend to do things like that is I start out just by taking random notes throughout the day that I think that might be valuable. Like yesterday, I noticed that on Amazon, there's a rank difference between mobile and desktop users. I didn't know the ranks were different. I thought the ranks were always static between mobile and desktop users. And I was like, whoa, that's so cool. And then I make the LinkedIn post just based on that random insight that I had. Guys, I wake up in the middle of the night, just think of something random, put it in my notes, and I'm like, man, that would make a great LinkedIn post. And then I put it in my notes, and that's what I do. So that's how I come up with consistent content just throughout my workday, throughout even when I sleep. I think of LinkedIn content just randomly, and it makes it where I can do a lot of things. So that's the way I create consistent content on LinkedIn, and not being afraid to post it, just not be afraid. So that's important. And then Twitter is bringing back the verification badge again. So normally they took it away. They thought they figured out people that didn't really understand what it was for and anything else. And I think people abused that system and they took it away. But now the Twitter is bringing back that verification badge again. So if you are big enough on Twitter to have a verification badge, then I would suggest using that, because I would expect a huge uplift in the amount of follows and everything else like almost every other platform does. So I'd highly recommend that. And I also want to show you a really neat Twitter thread that I thought this was a great example of marketing through Twitter. I'm going to show this to you. So right here, let me highlight it. So let me scroll this down actually. So let me zoom in. Let me zoom in for you. So this is a Twitter thread. Okay, so it just starts out with it being a normal thread right here. And after that, the way he just planned this out, it basically says to anyone looking for to taking Twitter seriously, here's a thread of 20 threads of how to market on Twitter essentially. And it starts out by saying like one, like, and then he does another retweet, and then it goes back to, then it says two, and then here's the great blog post, three. And I thought this just did a fantastic job and a fantastic format to have a really good strategy on Twitter. So I just think he did a really good job in general. And this is just really fantastic marketing in my opinion. And I'm probably going to adopt this format on Twitter because I just think it does a really good job of the way he did it. I think it's really engaging. It can get a lot of. I just thought that was a fantastic strategy right there. So, and then moving on to TikTok. Right here, basically, like the biggest thing for TikTok, like I know I say this over and over, but using this discovery page, guys, like this is a huge asset for all of you. This is TikTok right now. And using this discovery page to figure out what to post next. Like if this is at your disposal, like you can see what trends are going to arise, what trends are going to be used, and things like that. So it makes it where you have fantastic reach and you can find in the next blog or the next post to create on these, and it's all right here, guys. It's all right here. So you can easily find any new trend or any new thing that you want. And you can use this like for any other platform too. So say if you notice a trend that's happening on TikTok, and usually trends usually later, like the trend eventually goes down to Instagram, then it goes down to Facebook and things like that. So you can actually be ahead of the trend right now and say like, okay, this trend started and I know it's going to end up to Instagram and Facebook later on. I'm going to get ahead, create 10 pieces of content, and then start posting it, be ahead of the trend on Instagram and Facebook. And then you can really gain a lot of engagement that way, because you don't want to be on the tail end of the trend. You want to be on the front end of the trend. And the best way to do that is through the discovery page on TikTok. So definitely utilize this and to figure out any trend that you may be interested in. So I highly recommend using that. And also, TikTok had its first ever decline in monthly downloads. But that doesn't mean it's going to plummet anytime soon. That doesn't mean it's going away anytime soon. But it just means there's a decline right now. That's all. So I would expect it to pick up anytime soon. But it's fascinating. So it's a good platform to be on and has a lot of organic reach, just like LinkedIn does. So it's definitely worth, if you are a B2C company and you are selling products and you are doing things like that, you need to be doing influencer marketing on TikTok. That's a number one. And you also need to be trying to advertise on TikTok. Either one works. And don't put up a Facebook ad for a TikTok on the TikTok platform. Those are two separate things. Like, you can't just take one solid ad and put it everywhere. It doesn't work like that. You have to design it and format it to that platform. You know how I just talked about that Twitter format? That was really good. He designed that for Twitter. Like, you can easily get a Facebook post posted on Twitter, but it's not going to do well. And you can easily do that with LinkedIn, but it's just not going to do well. There's a format you have to keep within these platforms that you have to understand and watch and develop for. So it's really important not to just say, oh, I tried out TikTok, I used a Facebook ad. Like, it doesn't work like that. You have to design the ad in TikTok and understand how it works. And then you can make ads, really killer ads for that platform. So it's really important to get all that squared away. And yeah, that's all I have for TikTok. And also, moving on to Snapchat. Snapchat that's a big one. So, Snapchat is currently investing $1 million a day for its new TikTok like content. Its new TikTok like feature, I guess I should say. And they're really, really trying to push this hard. Investing over $1 million a day in ads, trying to push users to their new Spotlight platform, their new Spotlight feature. And I think it's a great opportunity to gain a lot of organic reach while they're investing that much and pushing this feature. So, because right now there's not a lot of content for Spotlight, but if you make, say, if you're already posting on TikTok, you need to be posting on Snapchat Spotlight. Like, that's a given. And you need to be posting on Instagram Reels too. So, all those things, that's okay. You know how I just said you can't use a Facebook post across all those platforms, but when it comes to like all these platforms are moving to these TikTok like features, it's okay to use Snapchat Spotlight. It's okay to use Instagram Reels and TikTok and use the same video for all three of those because they're all TikTok like content, short-term based and things like that. So, it's a really good opportunity if you want to get lots of awareness for your business or for your brand or anything else like that. So Snapchat Spotlight is where it's at. And also make sure and if you are, yeah, like I said before, if you're a local business, make sure you're posting on Snap Map. I've seen a lot of great success on Snap Map. You basically, if you make a Snapchat, you take a picture, and all it does, it goes to Snap Map, and you can just select that, and it will like basically show your post in the local area. So if you're a local business, post a Snapchat, post on that Snap Map, and then you'll be able to gain a lot of awareness for your business. Post a picture of your food, post a picture of your restaurant, put like anything, whatever if it is, if you're a local business, you need to be using this feature. So just make sure you have that within your arsenal and keep trying it. It works really well. And during December, Google had a broad core update. This is the latest update on Google, at least. And now we have a little bit more info of what that broad core update actually did. So it came out in December. We didn't really know. We were kind of iffy of what it was and what happened. But now we're kind of getting a little bit grasp of what it is. So they started using passage indexing a lot more. And what that means is when you click inside a Google search, like say you type in something and you search on Google, then it's going to take you, and you click inside of it, it will actually bring you to that part of the page. So Google is now indexing parts of the page and not the entire page. So let's say if I was talking about how to cook s'mores, okay? And I said and I typed in how to make the perfect s'more. And at the bottom of my blog post of how to cook s'mores, I actually have in the bottom how to make the perfect s'more at the very bottom. Google will actually rank that part of the page. So if I click into it, it will go down. I will actually be directed to the bottom of the page and it will highlight that section. So it's a great way. So now that Google's ranking part of the page, you can really use that and kind of do a combination strategy. Like having maybe not doing like one separate blog post every so often, maybe like combining them in a way, and that way you can like repurpose that content a little bit more now that they're ranking parts of the page. So you can really bring that in, and make that and use that to your advantage to get more awareness on Google. Now that they're doing passage indexing, that's what it's called. So it just makes it where it just always goes through the part of the page. And this is what Google said. Google said it did not change how it indexes content, but rather how it will rank that content. So like they said, indexing won't change too much, but how it ranks that content by doing passage indexing, by putting it to that exact part of the page, that's what they changed. And some other updates, May 2021, Google will not require AMP to be on the top stories of Google News. So right now, AMP means accelerated mobile pages. It is a huge feature. It's a way to get a lot of traffic through Google. And because Google has been heavily promoting AMP pages. Basically, it makes it where your page loads super fast. The faster the load time, the less your bounce rate. The less your bounce rate, the better the quality score. And basically, the way AMP works, it only loads the HTML. Like, it won't load the JSON or anything else. And it's super easy to set up, and it's so worth it to get that extra boost that Google will give you. AMP works really well, and as people start using mobile, like most people are using mobile now, guys, not desktop. And using these accelerated mobile pages, you can really have and be ahead of your competitors when it comes to using these AMP pages. And it doesn't take that long to set up. If you're on WordPress, it only takes 15 minutes to set up. And it's so worth to have that awareness and that boost in your rankings. So AMP pages is the way to go with that. And then moving on to YouTube next. YouTube's ranking really high on Google search. Like I said before, make sure you're doing keyword research for Google and YouTube, because YouTube video, now that videos are ranking on Google a lot higher now, like almost every search right now, guys, goes to a YouTube video. Like the top video will always be YouTube. And it's a great way to get a lot of traffic to your YouTube channel and to any other place. So if you link that YouTube channel, if you embed that into a blog post, then you can have a lot of traffic to that blog post. So if you do a YouTube video, make sure you do a lot of keyword research behind it. And the way I do research is I use Google Planner. Let me show you what Google Planner is. Google Planner is a keyword research tool that I use all the time. I love this tool. I'm going to show you how I use it. I'm going to open it up right now. Google Keyword Planner. I just really enjoy everything about this tool. Like, let me do a random search. It's not letting me pop up. I can't do it right now, but basically the way it works is you do a search term, and it will give you the competition behind that search term and the search volume behind it. So let's say if I typed in how to cook s'mores, and then I found another search term, how to cook s'mores perfectly on a grill, and that had 100,000 searches but very low competition, you could probably rank that pretty well. And then you can make a YouTube video behind that, and you can make a blog post with your embedded YouTube video to really target that. So if you have low competition behind it, you can rank that very easily by really pushing that content, pushing those YouTube videos, pushing that domain authority of YouTube, and pushing your blog post to your website and things like that. So it's a great way to get lots of awareness. Google's been pushing YouTube videos really hard, and make sure you have that in your arsenal to really take advantage of. And when it comes to designing YouTube videos and doing YouTube SEO, I use vidIQ. It basically makes it where I can easily optimize my videos very easily, and I can do a lot of keyword research behind it. So let me see if I'm going to go to YouTube real fast, and I'm going to type in, I'm just going to type in marketing. I'm going to share my screen. So if you look at my screen right now, let me zoom in on this. So you see this right side? This is vidIQ. So essentially they're telling me that there's medium competition for this, and that see if I can zoom in a little more if possible. It's maybe not letting me. But essentially it's telling right here, it says the amount of views, the amount of competition, the overall score to a target. This is medium. It says the volume's very high, but the competition's also high. So that's why it's about a 50 score. The higher the score, the less the competition and the more volume. And it's just a really great way to see what key terms to go after and where to go after in YouTube. So that's kind of how I do it. I do it based off of, I do YouTube SEO and I do Google SEO. And I kind of merge the two, so that way I rank on Google and rank on YouTube. So that's my thought process behind doing YouTube SEO and Google SEO, because they kind of go hand in hand since they work together a lot. Another thing, moving on to e-commerce, like everything when it comes to e-commerce, if you have a 3PL or fulfillment method, and make sure you have your own website. Make sure you aren't relying on these third party platforms like Amazon, Walmart, and everything else. You should have your own website, no matter what it is. Make sure you're not relying just on Amazon. And like it could be a simple Shopify website for all it matters. And also, if you do have a 3PL in place, like Deliver or something else like that, you can get on Walmart and all these other platforms for free. So it's worth trying and just to see if it's there. Yes, Walmart, the platform, does have a lot of glitches and doesn't work a lot of the time, but it has it has huge growth. It actually grew in growth. It grew more than Amazon last year. So it's really important that you have a Walmart strategy in place. And if it's free to get on the platform, practically free to get on the platform, it's worth doing. If you already have that fulfillment centers in place to already sell on Amazon or sell on Walmart and other things like that, make sure you have those in place, because make sure you sell on Walmart, sell on all these different platforms, because it's worth doing. Even eBay, even all these other platforms that are kind of like iffy, it's worth getting on because it's free. And yeah, make sure on your website you're posting content that answers questions in your category. I see a lot of e-commerce websites that only have basically their products and then that's it. You should be posting and answering any product questions. So if you I'm on s'mores. For some reason I'm hungry right now, so I'm into s'mores right now. I don't know why. But basically if you have a s'more cooker, you should be writing content on Google how to make the perfect s'more, how to how things around campfires and camping content, all these types of, and really take over that niche so that way you can gain a lot of traffic to your website, because that will help your domain authority, which will help you rank above your competitors through advertising and organic. So it's really important. The person that ends up posting the most relevant content for that user is going to win long term. They will. More people will hear about that brand through that valuable content. So make sure your Shopify website or any website that you have, make sure you're posting content around it. And also don't do a lot of self-promotional content. Like that's great. Like it's I see so many brands like on Instagram that basically all they post is a picture of their product at a different angle. Like they do this, take a picture. This, take a picture. Like it's just different angles. Like if think about how you guys would look at content. Like you guys aren't going to follow a page that only does self promotions. Like you don't want to look at 100 different products at just a different angle, guys. You want to have valuable content. So if you're say a energy drink, like don't post pictures of the energy drink. Like you can for like Instagram, or you can for influencers maybe, but you should be, if you're wanting to bring people to your page, provide relevant content. Maybe talk about how energy drinks boost your energy in the morning. Talk about what happens when I drink the energy drink. What happens in my body? What's gonna happen next? I have no idea. That might be interesting. What does the caffeine do to my brain? Is it good for me? And there's so many pieces of content that you can write about that, and a lot more than doing self promotion. Self promotion is easy, guys, but thinking about this kind of content, that's what's going to bring you sales. That's what's going to bring you awareness. So it's really important that you guys have that inside your strategy so that way you can take it to the next level. And if you don't, and also if you don't know what to talk about, you can also use Google Keyword Planner. That way you can see what search terms are being talked about in your niche. So if you do talk about s'mores or anything else like that, you can see what people are searching, how to make the perfect s'more, and like find other relevant search terms around it using Keyword Planner and seeing what the competition is, how many searches are happening. It's free, guys. It's a free tool. So it's worth doing, and it's worth trying to gain that awareness. And it's It's worth doing. It's worth doing. And then also, I want to talk about the relevance of getting on people's calendars. Like, I see a lot of people go for emails, they go for all these other things, but I see very little amount of people, say if you're in the B2B world, this is huge for you guys. Getting on people's calendars is vital because there's so much like I design my entire day within a calendar, no matter what it is, like going out to dinner, everything I ever do. Like I check my calendar at least 12 times a day, and the average person checks their calendar 8 times a day. So most people design their entire lives around their calendar. Like that's how we work essentially. And getting on people's calendar, it makes it more relevant to like they knowing that they're going to check that calendar all the time. That way, like say if you make an optional event for like a webinar or something, most people that try to set up webinars, they only go for emails and that's it. But you can actually gain a lot more people by getting on people's calendar, making it an optional event because you know they're going to be looking at their calendar all the time where they can say, okay, I'll join this time. Because they're going to be checking their calendar a lot more than they check their email. Emails only have a 20% open rate, but calendars, that's a whole other story. People check their calendars. They check every single event to make sure they're not missing something. So make sure you prioritize calendar events and getting on them rather than say an email and trying to get their phone number or something else like that, because there's a lot more engagement that way. And there are a lot of really great calendar apps. Like you can use Calendly if you want to schedule something, but if you want to like put it in an email to easily like integrate it, I use it's called like Eventable. That's what I use. It's a really great tool that you can basically make it where you can easily set up broad like add to calendar buttons, and basically you can a bunch of hundreds of people can add your webinar to a calendar where they're always checking it. So it's really neat and I highly recommend it. And asking for this is a really a great statistic that LinkedIn actually gave me. I was doing some advertising on them, and they actually told me that if you ask for a phone number on your forms, it will decrease your completion rate on that form by 18% if you have a phone number. So if you have a name and an email, like that would be technically 100% in this case, complete whatever that rate is. But if you add a phone number, if you ask for a phone number in that completion form, then it drops 18%. I found that fascinating. Like normally I don't give out my phone number because I hate when people call me. I hate cold calls, and I just tend to give them a fake phone number. But in this case, it actually dropped by 18%. So I found that fascinating, and we tend to be very personal about our phone numbers because I think we hate spam calls a lot. So I just find that really fascinating how people are very hesitant about giving out their phone numbers. So if you do have that in a broad customer list and you don't use it very often, I would recommend taking it out. Like I would pretty much recommend only name and email address, like if you are doing something like that. Or if you want to get really fancy, you can have it just one button that goes to a messenger funnel that where they automatically subscribe and they say, "Hey, thanks for subscribing." And then because once they're in a messenger funnel, guys, they can easily in one tap add their email. Like it's so easy to gain information through a Facebook Messenger funnel. Like it's crazy. So either one works really well, but if you already have a normal form on your website or something, having that phone number, maybe it's worth taking it out. And then basically the key takeaway of all this, LinkedIn is a great opportunity for a reach everywhere. It basically like on Google, on LinkedIn, like no matter where it is, if you are posting articles on LinkedIn, there's a great way to gain that reach from Google because using LinkedIn's domain authority. But if you are using LinkedIn, make sure you guys are posting, make sure you're posting consistently, and don't be afraid to post, guys. Like I'm not afraid to post things anymore. I post bad content on purpose now. Like, did you see all those things that just happened? Like all those random events that just happened? Like, I do like sometimes like I need to not care about what others what others think about it and just do me. Like I know I'm going to make mistakes and sometimes I make mistakes on purpose so that way I don't criticize myself over those mistakes because it becomes so normal to me at that point. Like it's important not to dwell over your mistakes and just to keep moving on. Like I could have the start of this webinar was kind of bad. I'm not gonna lie, but I just kept pushing. I kept trying, and eventually I'm gonna get better at it. So this is like the very beginning, and it's gonna take time, guys. Like it's it takes time to actually learn how to post on these content and not to care what others think. Like just post out what you want and post out what you want in your niche. And it could be as simple as like a new hurdle that happened in your life and anything else. Like there's so much content. Your life is so unique to mine or someone else's. Like I have no idea how you live or anything else. So it's important to for you to make sure that every aspect of your life is unique and could be a valuable piece of content. Like say if you learn how to do just any life event, like you learned how to save on taxes, for example. That would be a great LinkedIn post. Like if you're an accountant, like showing me how to save $1,000 on my taxes. Everyone's doing taxes right now, so if you have a valuable way to bring me more value and save me money, I'm gonna look at you. I'm like, wow, Janet, thanks for saving me $1,000 on taxes. I'm thinking about using you for my account. You just saved me $1,000. I want to see how much more you can save me. So it's important to you can do it related to your job. You can do it related to life. But content is content at the end of the day. So it's really important to make it relevant to the user. Like I don't suggest like taking a picture of your toast or something and like showing that off. It's not Instagram. But like if you're posting on LinkedIn, I would highly recommend doing something related to your work, something related to your niche that you think you could really develop, and just go full out into it and just don't care. And I almost recommend messing up on purpose, like mess up misspellings, do things like that. You need to be okay with posting garbage content. Like I need to be okay with posting trash content. Like I need to I need to accept my post for who I am. I need to because like you attach yourself to these LinkedIn posts and to it's important to not care what happens after that. Because if you wrap up your self-worth in these LinkedIn posts, it's going to hurt you. And the best way I got around that was by just posting content. Like no matter if I knew it was good or not, I would post it. And it's so important, guys. Like I can't stress this enough. And it really not only helped me post content, but it also helped me as a person. It helped me as a human being not to care what people think on the internet and off the internet. I no longer care like what people say no matter what it is. So it's important to take every so if people like give you helpful criticism, take it with a grain of salt. But if someone says you suck or something like that, don't take it personally. Like that's going to happen. And it's important to do these type of things, and maybe to get over your fear of posting, just post a random just say, hey, I'm gonna start posting now, and that's it. Like that's your first post. I'm gonna start posting now. That right to this day, January 6th 2021, I'm gonna post from now on. And that's your post for today. There you go. You're welcome. And that's it. So I want people to post. I get a lot of messages every day about people like, hey, I want to post consistently, and I don't know what to post. And that's my best recommendation for you. I want to try to help as many as you guys as many as I can to really post on LinkedIn because it's such a great opportunity. Only 1% of you guys are posting. 1%. And it's crazy. So if you are that 10% that does like and comment, you could like right now. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind at all. But that was a joke. But yeah, that's practically it. That's all I wanted to say. And if you want to be on the show, if you are one of these things right here, like a Google expert, a YouTube expert, you advertise on any of these, you have experience with any of these, I'd love to have you on the show. Like, I'd love to see what your insights are for these different platforms. And because I kind of do everything. Like I do Google advertising, Facebook advertising. I do all these different things, but it makes it I can't specify and get granular for each one of these topics. Unfortunately, I can do a lot of Facebook and a lot of LinkedIn because that's what I know really well, and Google, but not too much for the others. So if you are one of these, one of these, I'd love to have you on the show. If you know Shopify, if you own a Shopify store, I'd love to have you on the show and really, really just start talking Shopify, seeing how we can, how what things you've learned, what things and everything that's going on. Love to have you on the show. And if you have any other questions, feel free to comment them. I'm happy to respond to them. And if you have any personal questions for me, feel free to message me. I really don't bite. I've been sending so many messages on LinkedIn. It's been insane actually. So feel free to message me. I don't bite. Only on Tuesdays I bite. And after that, that's it, guys. So thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and hopefully you can post content. Tag me in it, and I'll comment on it. So if you just on your first post, tag me, I'll comment. You can get more awareness on it. I'd be happy to help you any way I can. No matter where I can, guys, I'll always try to help you. Thanks, guys.